So now we're going to play the interview that I did with Abubaker Abed, who again is a journalist based in Gaza. And people may remember he actually took part in a really moving and infuriating press conference back in January, where he spoke on behalf of a bunch of Gaza-based journalists about what they were experiencing.
You've seen us killed in every possible way. We've been immolated, incinerated, dismembered, and disemboweled. And recently, we've been freezing to death. What more ways should you be seeing us killed in so that you can move and act and stop the hell inflicted upon us? There are no words to describe what we've been going through, because you've seen our bodies, how they've become fragile, skinny, and fatigued. But we never stopped. We never stopped to tell you the truth, to narrate our stories, and to tell you that we are being genocided, to move your dead consciences, to help a population that has seen every sort of torture and tasted every type of death.
Now, without further ado, here's my interview with Abubaker Abed. And for understandable reasons, his connection was terrible, so the audio is not great. So we appreciate your patience and your understanding. But obviously, this is something that happens when you're trying to interview someone who's based in Gaza. Welcome to the show, Abubaker Abed. So honored to be talking to you. I've seen your appearances. I've read your work, your reporting. I want to start off by saying I'm really so sorry about what is happening right now. What do you want an American audience, or really an audience outside of Gaza, to know about what is happening right now as we speak?
They are paying for my suffering. That's the first thing I want them to know. And this has to stop, because not even silent, but you are paying by your tax dollars for my suffering, for I'm going through right now. And you've trusted, it was your mistake that you trusted Trump when he deceived you by the leaflets that were saying that he would be very interested in stopping wars. But right now he's breaking out wars, he's starting wars, and he's just a puppet in the for the Israeli lobby, and he's funding the resumption of the genocide, feast of the genocide. So instead of stopping the war in Gaza, stopping this genocide, he is funding it completely, fully, and in every possible way. Secondly, I want Americans to know, particularly the younger generations, and let me just say that I've known many of those people and those young men and women in the younger generations, among the younger generations in the United States. I'm really happy about it. I'm very hopeful that they will make a change. They have to know that instead of having our dreams right now, we're just dreaming to live. That is the peak of dehumanization. That is something we never wanted to happen. And it even didn't start on October the 7th, because this has been the same cycle of grief, the same cycle of unending suffering, the same cycle of pain, the same cycle of agony for over 17 years inside Gaza, and for many years before that. So I just want people to know in the United States that it's your duty. You are the only nation. So I won't blame any nation around the world as much as I blame the nation of the United States, that they are responsible for the killings and the mass expulsion of Palestinians inside Gaza and what is happening, because it's your government and everything is being given the green light inside the White House. So you have to make the change. You didn't need to rest at all for a single second, because your government is funding my suffering. Your government is behind the killing of my dearest friend. Your government is behind the killing of my neighbors. Your government is behind the annihilation of many homes of Gaza, of my university, of my neighborhood, and everything. That's why you need to stop it. That's why you need to stand firm in the face of this extreme adversity, and you have to share our pain. And it's not only about protesting, and it's not only about boycotting and divesting. You have just to make sure that you face your government, you tackle their decisions that make for our suffering and make for our plight, and you have to just do everything in your power to make sure that your government is not gonna do that again. And the plight of us, the plight of the children here and everyone is going to stop, because our dreams have been destroyed and have been buried under the debris, and our lives have been being shattered every single day. Right now, while I'm talking to you, there is shelling across Gaza, across central Gaza. There are still many live rounds and bullets and volleys of projectiles unleashed by Israeli troops and squadrons distributed all across the strip. And now there are strong waves of wind that are blowing away the tents of people. That is to tell you, you are now in a home, Kathy. The working people are in homes. They are living the best life, the best lives. They have everything they want, the basic necessities. They can pursue these dreams. All these means of a human life are not found in Gaza, because we have been dehumanized and we are seen as subhumans. People have been intense for the past 15 months. So imagine that you cannot really stay in your home for 24 hours, because you need to go outside, have some food, have some chicken, go shopping, play with your friends, play with your colleagues, have some time outside in a cafe or something. All these simple indicators of life, all these signs of the simplest life in the world, have no place in Gaza, and have had no place in Gaza for more than 15 months. That is something your government has funded. So please, we're not begging you, but it's your duty to stop it.
Of course, I totally agree with that. I had a question for you. So did a recent collaboration on Drop Site News, and you said after the attacks were underway, the Israeli military posted messages on social media in Arabic ordering Palestinians in areas throughout the Strip to evacuate. Al-Haq, the Palestinian human rights organization from the occupied territories, released a report January this year in which they declared, quote, the intentional use of humanitarian language directly contributes to the false narrative that Israel is taking measures to protect civilians, when in fact it amounts to forced transfer as both a war crime and crime against humanity. Do you agree with this assessment? What's your response to that claim?
It's insane, because Israel has been killing children, mass killing children for the past 15 months now. During the past 48 hours, more than around 200 children have been killed. I know babies under 3 years old who have been killed. I know a fetus who was burnt along with his mother, and Khan Yunis after their tent was bombed by Israeli drones. And I know entire generations, entire families that have been wiped out. Here where I am at the moment in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza, 2 families have been wiped out from the roots, from the youngest child to the oldest man in the family. And I know one of our friends that used to visit us, and he visited us during the war on Gaza. He, his wife, his 2 children, his brothers and his sisters and his parents, all of them have been wiped out in the recent attacks, and they were all killed in Rafah. So where are the measures that protect civilians in Gaza? Where are these measures? And like, for example, I don't have any connection with Hamas. I know, personally speaking, why am I subjected to this horror? Why am I subjected to go through all this at the same time? Why am I subjected to be, for example, to being a football reporter, to a war correspondent? I'm not a war correspondent, and everybody knows that. I'm a football reporter, so why am I not chasing my dreams? Why am I not pursuing what I want? I haven't completed my education. This is a simple dream, and I'm now stuck. I'm just reporting on the killing of my people, on the murder of my people, on their injuries. I'm seeing children dismembered in pieces around me. I'm living quite 100 meters away from Al-Aqsa Mother's Hospital. The morgue of the hospitals, the corpses are piled up there, and people just are crying and weeping over their loved ones before the morgue and inside the hospital itself. And it was a scene of sheer horror, pure terror, something I can never imagine. I still have very, very painful memories from the past when I saw tanks and rockets falling down on my neighborhood and on nearby houses. Those scenes, I haven't recovered from them yet. I haven't recovered from the trauma. I haven't really given myself time to rehabilitate. So just the restart of attacks in Gaza has revoked all these very painful memories and has just terrorized me and it truly, truly traumatized me. So it's a trauma that is coupled with a trauma, and this trauma is being compounded every single day. We cannot really get out of this. This is the plight, the unending plight the Palestinians in Gaza haven't gone back from, haven't really recovered from, and people have allowed it. The world has allowed it. No one's doing something to even help Palestinians. No one in the world, no nation can help into one bottle of water, a single plate of meat, of food into Gaza. You have to be ashamed. You must be ashamed.
It seems like the only nation that is really doing anything about this is Yemen.
Yeah, I know. But it's not just about Yemen, Kat, because we talk about Yemen. Yemen decided to sacrifice itself for Gaza and Palestine. We're seeing the people in the Arab world themselves, in the Arab world itself, they are attacking Yemen for standing with Gaza. So this kind of division within the Arab world itself and within the world itself is truly, truly, very destructive for the Palestinian cause and very heartbreaking to see as Palestinians. They're being attacked by the Arab world themselves. We're not united. When we talk about Trump, for example, what he did 5 years ago in his first inauguration in 2017, he spearheaded normalization within the Arab world. So he is the reason behind what is happening right now to Gaza. He's the reason why Gaza is just suffering. So I hope that it's not all about Yemen, but it's about other countries, but they're not ready to do so because the United States rules the world. The Treaty Luby rules the United States. So everybody knows and must be, and I'm sure that everybody knows that the Israeli Luby rules the entire world, and that is done under the auspices of the United States.
Was there a ceasefire before? Because the narrative now is, of course, that as of the other night, Israel has broken the ceasefire, but many people point out that they were consistently breaking the ceasefire even during the quote-unquote ceasefire. So what are your thoughts on that?
They have killed 150 during the ceasefire. So what is a ceasefire when 150 people have been killed during the truce? And what is a ceasefire when no humanitarian aid was allowed in? People were suffering and didn't have mobile homes, they didn't have caravans, they didn't have containers to live in temporarily, they didn't have the materials, they didn't have vehicles and bulldozers to retrieve the bodies of their loved ones from under the rubble. So what was the ceasefire? What was that ceasefire in place? It's just incredibly insane to say that there was a ceasefire in place for Gazans because many people were killed. 150 people could not even go back to their houses during the ceasefire. So it's absurd. It's completely unreasonable to say that Israel even wanted this ceasefire because we see right now Israeli troops inside Gaza, and we're seeing the random shelling, the live rounds, the volleys projectiles. We're seeing how they are striking everywhere inside Gaza. So it's literally insurmountable.
Can I ask how old you are and what your dreams were before this happened? Like to finish your education, etc.?
When the genocide started, I was 20. Right now, I'm 22, and I started speaking English when I was 14 years old. Although I didn't have even the means, the methods to learn the language, it was very hard to learn it with scant sources and with being totally cut off from the outside world. But I did because I'm someone with an unbeatable mentality. That was what I was instilled into. I was instilled into hope, and I'm still hopeful every single day. And yeah, I dreamed to be a football commentator because in 2019 I participated in one of the world football commentary contests in the BBC Cardiff. I was online, and I really went I reached the the round before the final round.
Semi-final.
Yeah, like not the semi-final really. It's not like this. It wasn't like this, the division of these phases, but one of the highest phases. And yeah, I was absolutely I was really happy about it because I know football. And despite the fact that I'm now a war correspondent, I was the only one, and I'm the only one inside Palestine, not only Gaza, was reporting on the sporting tragedy. And of course, it's absolutely heartbreaking to see the mass destruction of every football facility inside the strip, the killing of over 380 footballers, more than 750 athletes, and the shattering of the dreams of every fan inside the territory. We are still watching football and everyone is watching the game. But unfortunately, FIFA is complicit. The international footballing organizations are also complicit. They don't care about Palestine. They were crying over Ukraine 3 years ago, but now football. We know they told us many times, and they caused us headache that football stands together. But when it comes to Palestine, Palestinians, the Lebanese, the Sudanese, it doesn't stand together. So it's a very white supremacist, racist, and discriminate choosing and picking of whom to stand with and whom to show sympathy with.
How come you have an English accent, like a British accent?
Again, as I'm telling you, I've been watching football
That's why. Okay, football. Yeah.
for 12 years. Yeah, for 12 years. So yeah, I do know much more about the British culture, many things about the British culture. And yeah, I even, let me just tell you that I was accepted into many universities, 9 pre-medical schools in the United States, 3 universities in the UK, but Israel and Gaza's conditions did not give me the chance to go outside 3 years ago. So I stayed in the territory.
So you applied to various universities in the States and in England, and you were going to do pre-med?
Yeah, I
Wow.
was going to do pre-med, but unfortunately, Israel and the siege on Gaza, the crippling siege, did not allow me to do so. So I stayed in the territory. I was forced to stay.
You commented earlier about people who were tricked by Trump and his anti-war message. Do you think there's any difference between Trump and Biden?
No, the two are war criminals. They are maniac leaders. They are just serving the interests of the Zionist entity. So there is no difference between the two. And as I just told you that he spearheaded the normalization within the Arab world. So how could he better at all? And I think probably for me, I didn't want him to win. I didn't want Kamala to win either. But I think from what I'm seeing, there is no difference between the two. And the list of the two evil doesn't work here as well. So both are evil. Both have been supporting the genocide in Gaza, and now we've gone from genocide Joe to genocide Trump. That's the transition that we have at the moment. So Trump has been genociding us. Now Joe Biden has been genociding us. Now Trump is Trump trans. So it's completely devastating. We're gutted. The buildings are gutted. Everyone is gutted, devastated. But we would continue to hope. That's a promise. We will continue to hope until the very last breath, and we will seek out hope, because to seek out hope is to be human. And we will continue that until the very last breath, and we will make sure that Palestine is going to be free. That's the promise for ourselves as young generation. That's a promise we will carry with us for us and for the young generations and for everyone outside the world, because we're not fighting back against Israel. We're fighting back. We are leading.
We lost our connection there, but very happy that I was able to speak to Abubaker and wish him and all the people in Gaza and in Palestine and in Yemen and in Lebanon, all the places that Israel is attacking, wishing them the best, the very best. It sounds ridiculous to say, but I don't know what to say during these times. And that's it.